welcome to another Tonic Craft Kit unboxing video. Today's is kit number 49, which is called the Flower Power gift box. And although it is another gift box, I know some of you say in the comments you're not that keen on the gift boxes, but I have got 3 different card ideas to show you, and it's not just one gift box. It actually there's like multiple different permeations of the gift box, because you can make it 6-sided, 5-sided or 4-sided, and you have 3 different side heights as well. So you get instructions in the kit, and the instructions show you how to assemble the 6-sided box, but I've also done a photographic step-by-step for how to construct the 5-sided box, which will be on the Tonic's blog, and then at the end of this video I will show you in video format how to construct the 4-sided box as well. They are like very similar of how they go together, but I thought it would be nice for you all to have like a reference for all 3 sizes or shape of box, so that you can know like which way to place this certain die within it, that helps get the perfect line up of like the petals that fit on top of the box, and you'll see what I mean later on. But let's get into the unboxing of this Flower Power gift box kit. So first of all, we've got our lovely bag of Nouveau products, and we've got a really lovely selection in this month's kit. Firstly, this is a fantastic one to get in the kit. This is their Nouveau Deluxe Adhesive, which is a really lovely strong adhesive, which is quite quick grabbing as well. And the bottles that they come in, and they're not only just pretty, but they also have a decent sort of narrow nozzle on them, so you can get quite accurate with your placing of your glue and stuff. You'll have seen me using this glue in a lot of my videos. It's one that I tend to grab for on my desk. So we've got a full-sized bottle of the Nouveau Deluxe Adhesive. I'm sure this is about at least £4 or £5 for one of these bottles, so it's a pretty decent Nouveau product to get in the kit. Then we also have a full-sized Nouveau crystal drop in a dual drop finish. So these are translucent, and this one is called Peach Sorbet, and it's a really gorgeous light apricot-y kind of colour. I know it's called peach. It looks pinker in the bottle than it does in real life, unless that's just my camera. No, so it looks pinker in the bottle, but in real life or in person it is slightly more of a peachy kind of tone, but it's really pretty, and you can actually use this underneath glitter as well, and it'll give a slightly different effect that I'll show you in a second too. So we have a full-sized dual drop, and there are so many different techniques that you can do with dual drops or any of the Nouveau crystal drops, and there are plenty of videos on my channel to go and check out different ideas of how to use your Nouveau drops. Then we're also getting a pot of glitter. This is one of the smaller size pots that would usually come in a multi-pack, but this is one of the colours from a multi-pack. It came in the Cross My Heart collection, which was one of the first multi-pack collections. However, the original ones were in glass bottles, but this one is in a plastic bottle, like any of the more recent sets of like the Rustic Rose, the Santa's Workshop and everything, where you've had the 4 glitters, confettis and sequins and stuff. They're in the same size bottles as those, which are plastic ones. And this is the Candy Pink glitter. So this is a colour that's been around for a while. You probably could have got this in one of the large bottles when they did them as well, but it's a really beautiful pink. I do tend to reach for this one a lot. It's a really nice mid-tone kind of pink that's got that AB finish in there, so it's got that beautiful green and red reflections in it as well. So that is the glitter, and then I wanted to show you the difference between using your Nouveau Deluxe Adhesive and your dual drop to stick down your glitter if you wanted like a raised effect. So here I just freehand drew 2 hearts. This one is with the Nouveau Deluxe Adhesive, and you can see it comes out very true to the colour that's in the pot, but this one was drawing the heart with the Peach Sorbet dual drop, and you can see the glitter slightly takes on that peachy kind of colour of the glitter drop. So if you want a slightly different effect, or maybe you wanted this to look slightly more on the purple side, you could have used a blue Nouveau drop to like draw something and then add your glitter over the top, or even just doing your Nouveau drops and then adding the glitter over the top. It's great just like to use a Nouveau drop as an adhesive to to stick onto your glitter as well for different kind of effects. But I've previously shown lots of different ideas of how to use your glitters, whether you want to use double-sided adhesive sheets when you're doing your paper piecing, and then when you get fed up with the paper piecing you can just add glitter to the rest of the adhesive that's exposed. You can do really cool stencil techniques with glitter where you press your clear mark ink pad all over your stencil before applying it to a self-adhesive sticky sheet. Then you would add one colour of glitter through the exposed sticky that's left from you know, in between the places of where the stencil is. Then you burnish all of that off, you peel your stencil off the sticky, which should come off really nice and easily because you added the clear mark on there, so it shouldn't stick too firmly to the adhesive. And then you can come back in with another colour of glitter, or if you had gilding flakes or something from a previous kit, you could use gilding flakes, or like even your Nouveau shimmer powders would stick onto the onto the double-sided adhesive sheets as well. So you can do some really cool techniques with glitters, and it's always nice just to have a new colour to play with as well. I know pink probably isn't everybody's cup of tea, but we all know somebody who loves pink, and great for like Valentine's Day cards and stuff as well. So really beautiful candy pink colour of glitter. Then we're also getting a full-sized spool of the new ribbon that Tonic has brought out. So this one is the Ivory White Double-Faced Satin, and it is the 3mm width, and then you have 5 meters on the roll, and it's the ivory colour, so it goes really nicely with their smooth white cardstock, because it's slightly, oh no, it's ivory cardstock, that's why it looks ivory. It's their smooth ivory cardstock that we're getting in this kit. So this ivory works absolutely perfectly to tie the top of your box together if you're using the ivory cardstock to make your box out of, but you can also really easily colour this with any of your Nouveau alcohol pens or any other brand of alcohol pen that you have, and it's really like absorbent, this ribbon, so I was just going over it once and the ink soaked all the way through to colour both sides of the ribbon as well. So you can make it pink, you can make it a greeny colour, a apricot-y colour, depending on what colour pen you want to use. You can turn it into a colour that would work with your box if you don't want the cream. Maybe you've used white card to make your box and the cream doesn't go, you can easily colour tint this ribbon and it goes really nicely. And it's also a lovely quality ribbon. I don't know if you can kind of see that. It's got that double-edged facing on it, and it's a really nice, it doesn't fray that much. It's a really lovely kind of quality that not all ribbons are a nice quality, but this one really doesn't fray that much, which is really lovely, because it's always so annoying when you tie a bow, you cut the tails of it and then it starts fraying, but it's really nice, this one. Obviously it would fray a little bit, but it doesn't fray as much as some other ribbons do. And I think it's a really lovely addition to your craft stash if you don't have a lot of ribbon. Like I've never been much of a ribbon user, or if I have bought ribbon in the past, I've usually bought sort of like 1 meter in a craft shop, and then you either don't want to use it or you haven't got enough to do your whole project or something, you don't want to waste all of the ribbon. So it's quite nice to have spools of ribbon that you can know that you can use quite a bit of them and you've still got plenty left, because there's 5 meters on there. And I've really been enjoying this Craft Perfect ribbon. They also do it in a 6mm width, I think it's 6mm. Let me just get one here. Oh, the ivory one as well. Oh no, it's 9mm, sorry. So we get 3mm in this kit, but you can also buy a 9mm width as well if you want to. And there's multiple different colours that this comes in. I think there's 10 different colours at the moment. Yeah, so really lovely ribbon. I'm glad we get a spool of that, because it gives you all a chance to try it if you haven't bought any of it already. Then we're also getting a mini pot of Nouveau embellishment mousse. This one is the spring green colour, which is one of the original colours of mousses, I think. After they'd done all the traditional like whites and metallics and stuff, I'm sure spring green was one of the original colours, and spring green and aquamarine were actually the first 2 Nouveau mousses that I bought, and I've gone through a whole big pot of this spring green already. I didn't actually open my little pot because I had my big pot to work with, and it's quite nice to keep the small ones sealed in case you want to give them as a gift to somebody as well that hasn't tried them before. So I was actually using it out of my big pot, but I did a sample on here so you can see. This is the kind of texture that you can get from an embellishment mousse, or you can spread it through a stencil, or you can use it really thinly. This was still using it on the palette knife, but you can spread it with your finger or with a sponge. You can stencil with it, and I actually used one of the dies from the kit to make my own little stencil to create one of the backgrounds. You can water it down and paint with it, and you can splatter with it. There's so many different things you can do with an embellishment mousse, and you can even like press glitter into it when it's wet as well. I know pink glitter on top of green probably wouldn't look that great, but you can combine glitter and embellishment mousse together. And in my Santa's Workshop colour trend video, I'm sure I was experimenting with mixing the embellishment mousse with like sparkle sprays and glacier paste and stuff as well. So if you have other products of a similar colour, it works nicely to sort of mix them all together as well. So it's a lovely product to experiment with, and if you've never tried it before, it's lovely to have a little sample pot before you go on to buy any other colours that you might want to play with. You can also tint the colour of an embellishment mousse as well. You do have to be careful that you're not adding too much of like a powdery substance or too much of a liquid to like really alter the consistency of it. But and obviously with a green mousse, you're probably only really going to be able to colour it green or a turquoisey kind of colour. But just using a few drops of a dark blue to make it turquoise or a dark green to make it darker coloured should work for colour tinting this as well. So that would work for Christmas as well then. Or if you just wanted to do like an ombre of green or lots of different coloured greeny blue kind of splatters on a project, being able to colorise this with your Aqua flows or your Nouveau shimmer powders is a great way of making this go further and, you know, like changing the colour up and stuff. So you can also do that with your Nouveau embellishment mousses. Then we're also getting a mini sparkle spray. So this is the Strawberry Ice, which is one of the, there were 3 colours that released with the CRaFTi's magnetic work surface a little while ago, and there was 3 different sparkle spray colours. This was one of them. I think the other one was like Maple Leaf, and there was an orange one as well, but this was the Strawberry Ice that came out then. So we've got a lovely little small bottle. There is actually a lot in these bottles. I cleaned one of them out not that long ago, and I'm sure I mentioned it in whatever video, whatever kit video I showed that in, but I'm sure there was at least 20 or 30 sprays within one of these bottles, because I filled it up with water and then sprayed it to see how many you could get out. So they really do go a long way. You think they're not going to last that long, but they really do go a long way. And the things to make sure is make sure that you shake it really well before you use it, because there's lots of glitter within this one, hence it being called a sparkle spray. So you want to make sure that's really in solution before you start spraying it, so that you're left with, you know, like an even amount of each of them as you use the bottle. But also you don't want to depress the top of it and suck up some of the sparkle, because that will clog the whole mechanism and you might not be able to unclog it as well. And you might also want to get into the habit of cleaning the nozzle out between each use, so you can just take the whole uptake tube out of the bottle and then put this into a cup of clean water and then just keep spraying until it runs clear, and then you can put it back in and you'll know that the there'll be nothing stuck in here that's going to dry up over time as you're leaving it between uses. But also showing you the uptake tube as well, one of my favourite things is to splatter, and you can actually just take the uptake tube out and splatter with that if you want to, or I just used the uptake tube there to spread that colour out as well. So it's also a way of applying it if you did break your sprayer, or you just wanted a different kind of look for the product, or you don't like spraying stuff, because I know it can be quite messy and droplets do tend to travel quite far on your desk as well. So if you're not keen on spraying stuff, you can definitely just use this with a paintbrush as well. And a lot of the time with sparkle sprays, I like to take another bottle, tip a little bit of this out and dilute it with water, because it is very intense in colour and intense in the amount of glitter that is in there. So you're not actually losing too much of that when you dilute it down. It still gives you a really vibrant colour, and it still gives you loads of glitter as well. It will just make it go further, especially when you only have a little sample one to play with as well. So definitely consider getting some empty spray bottles and like decanting some and watering it down as well, because that's another great way of using your sparkle sprays. And then the final Nouveau product is another full-size product. You can kind of see it shimmering here. I did a swatch to let it dry to show you, because it's hard to see when it's wet, but this is the beautiful Opal Quartz Aqua Shimmer. So it's like their glittery Aqua Shimmer, the glitter gloss one, but this one has got like an opal-y kind of finish to it, and at some angles it looks clear or almost a green tint to it, and then when the light hits it you get beautiful purple kind of mica coming through. So it's a really beautiful one, and I'm really glad that I got a new one because I have literally just finished my old one. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to open this one up, show you how intense it is from a new pen, and then I'm also going to show you how you can top up your old one with water to make it go further as well. So let me just take the rest of this out of the box so we can get the box out of the way. So when you get one of these, they have this bright yellow band around them, and basically you just want to untwist that off of there, take this little orange or yellow band away. You can actually use this to create texture tools to use in your card making as well. I think I've got mine here. Yes, I do. So I took a load of them from previous ones. I tend to just like put them in front of me on my desk, so if I think of an idea for them I've got them already. And I just took some of it was actually the Tonic tacky glue stuck these down really well, put a big bead of it on there and then stuck these on, and you can use this to create texture on your jelly plate as an extra way of using up these little pieces. And you can also do it with those little pins that used to come on the packaging as well. If you have any of them, the little backing pieces of them work great for a texture tool as well. So yeah, that's a way of using up those little spacer rings. And then you just take the bottom of the pen and the top of the pen and twist this back on, and then once it won't twist anymore you pull the lid off, so now the brush is attached, and then you'll need to twist it a little bit further, and then now this part of the pen has punctured into the bottom part so that the liquid can flow. And then all you want to do is put the lid back on first, shake it so that it's nicely, all the mica is nicely distributed in the liquid inside. And then the bristles do actually have sizing in them, so they're quite firm to begin with. But if you start squeezing, oh, you can see how quickly it comes through, and then you can just use that puddle to dampen the bristles and get that sizing out of it. And then you'll have a gorgeous brush to play with, and you can see how full of the mica a brand new pen is. So that's how a brand new pen should come. If you're not seeing this much in there, make sure you shake it, because a lot of it can settle in there and then you might just be getting more of the liquid rather than the mica-y stuff, and you can hear there's mixing balls in there. So you just got to shake it for a bit. But if you have an empty one, you can hear this one sounds a lot different because there's no liquid left in it. You can actually take either a pipette, or I've got one of these like wash bottles that you would use in the lab, and because it's got a fine nozzle on it, it's quite useful to have in your craft room. And you can just fill this up with water. I do recommend using distilled or deionized water so that it doesn't go stagnant. But you can just fill that up, put the lid back on, and then, so when you're doing this, you can either do this to make the aqua shimmery part go further, or you could completely wash it out if you wanted to and then just use it as a water brush. Depends like what kind of effect that you want, but this is the first time I'm diluting this one, so the full strength, I just finished using it. So now we want to give that a good shake to get any of the residual like mica that's in the barrel of the pen into that water, and then we'll just see how much is actually in there now. So you can see it's not actually, well, it is less obviously than the original, but that's not actually too much less. So just filling the barrel up with water does make your aqua shimmers and these gorgeous opal one go a lot further. So it's a really nice way of knowing that even if you finish using up a brand new one, you can still refill the pen with water and get some more use out of it as well. And once you've done that a couple of times, there probably won't be much left, and then you can just use it as a water brush as well to use with your watercolours, or to water down your aqua flows, or to maybe drag out the colour in your watercolour pencils. But you can also use the sparkly ones and the opal ones to drag out the colour of watercolour pencils as well, and that gives an extra effect to them too. So yeah, I thought I'd just show you that tip because it's quite good to know that you can make them last longer. So back in a second to show you the papers and the dies. So we've actually got 10 sheets of A4 card in this month's kit, and again we get it in the gorgeous folder from the rebranding. And there is actually some A4 sheets of patterned paper in this month's kit as well, which is I don't know if they're going to bring them out in full-size packets or not, or whether it's just a kit kind of thing. But it's really nice to have A4 patterned papers, so I'll get to them towards the end. But the first 3 sheets of cardstock we have are Marigold Yellow, Fuchsia Pink, which is the gorgeous bright pink, and then Apricot Orange as well. And this is the textured Craft Perfect, so it's got the linen weave on one side, and then it's smooth on the other side. And those colours go really nicely together, the kind of peach with the gorgeous fuchsia and the marigold. Really lovely colours. And these are actually great for making the boxes from the kit as well. They're a substantial enough weight. I tried the box with the smooth card, the pearlescent card. Was it the pearlescent card? Yes, the smooth card, the pearlescent card, and the Craft Perfect, and all of them work nicely for building the box in this kit as well, so that's good to know. Then we get 2 sheets of their Ivory smooth card, which is 300 GSM. So going from a 216 of the Craft Perfect textured card up to a 300 GSM work great for these boxes. So it doesn't really matter what weight of cardstock that you're using. The smooth card is fantastic for like colouring on, or for doing your inky kind of techniques on, but it's also, this cream is just a nice colour and works really nicely with the Ivory ribbon that you're getting in this kit as well, so it's a perfect match. And these minty colours that I'll show you next go really nicely with this gorgeous ivory colour. So that is the 300 GSM card. Then we get 1 sheet of the smooth mint satin mirror card. I love this colour. I've gone through quite a few packets of this colour, really beautiful. And then we have 2 sheets of pearlescent cardstock. This one is the blushing pink pearlescent, and as always the pearlescent is double-sided, so it's also nice for doing your boxes, and it works nicely with this box from this kit, because when you open the box you'll see the pearlescent colour on the inside as well. And then we also get another sheet of pearlescent, which is the fresh mint colour, which is also another of my favourites. Really beautiful, this one. Then we're also getting a sheet of the Burnished Rose. I didn't have a full A4 sheet to show you, but this is like that Rose Platinum, but it's in the satin mirror card version rather than the high gloss version. So it's a subtle burnished rose kind of a colour. So really pretty. Goes really nicely with that blushing pink pearlescent cardstock as well. You will get a full A4 sheet of it. And then finally we have the patterned papers, and we're getting 2 sheets of the patterned paper. Yeah, 1 of each. So they're double-sided, but basically you're getting 1 of each so that you can use 1 of each of the patterns, or if you prefer one or the other you can just use both of the same pattern. But this one is really lovely. It has got all of the colours from the kit in it, and they all work really nicely with this one. And it's a gorgeous diagonal striped pattern with the sort of marigold, the fuchsia, the corally kind of colour, and the minty colour with white stripes in between. Really lovely, this one. And then the other one is this kind of quatrefoily sort of a pattern of like a lighter and darker mint on top of each other, and this actually matches one of the dies that decorates the box as well. So you can actually bring everything together using the die and the paper to coordinate it all. Maybe you've used the dies on the box and use the paper as the background on your card that matches the box. It'll all go really nicely together. So that is all of the sheets of cardstock that we're getting in this kit. And then finally, what you've all been waiting for, because I haven't even shown you what the box looks like yet, this is everything that comes in the little folder. I have put mine on a magnetic sheet, but this doesn't actually come in the kit. And you have your little folder that you can put your sticker on. I didn't get the sticker this month, but you can put your sticker on and label it with the number. So this is kit number 49 if you're keeping up with the numbers, or it is called the Flower Power gift box. So we have the whole die set. We have a gorgeous little A6 stamp set, and these sentiments are so beautiful. There's a tiny little label in here that I was using on the cards that I created, and it works really nicely with loads of these. I think practically all of the little sentiments fit on that really nicely. So these are great little sentiments for when you've forgotten a sentiment on your card and you just need to add one and you don't want it to take up too much space or detract from the design of your card. So you've got: "You've made my day, you're the best, congrats, bloom, blessings to you, thank you so much, I love you, and then keep smiling." You've also got 2 extra stamps that will coordinate with a couple of the dies as well. So this one goes with the oval gift tag So you've got a little gift tag that will cut an oval shape out, and you can actually stamp the detail onto that if you want a beautiful little leafy design going all the way around that. And then you also have this little sort of ticket shaped gift tag as well that you can use with the other stamp in here too, but obviously you don't have to use them with the dies, you can just use them to surround any of your sentiments as well if you want to. Then we have a little cluster of 3 hearts, which I was actually using to stamp with the sparkle spray, and it's a little bit blobby, the image, but it still worked quite nicely as just like a little scattering down the card. But obviously if you've got ink pads in your stash, you can use your ink pads to stamp with it. And then you also get this one, which I didn't actually use in the end. I did plan to use it, but I kind of changed my mind halfway through making the card. But this actually gives the sort of leaf vein detail for the petal portion of the top of the gift box. So you could actually stamp onto these and give them a sort of veined leaf kind of a look. Or you could probably even use it on the top of the box there as well if you want to. Or you could freehand cut your own leaf to go around it, or you could actually use that as like a stylised tree as well. It could be like a little bare tree for winter scenes, or you could, maybe you've got some other tiny little leaf dies or sequins, maybe the ones you might have got them in last month's kit, there was tiny little maple leaf sequins. You could like put them all over that and turn it into a tiny little tree as well. So lots of different ways of using that sort of leaf veining stamp as well. And then we have the die set and we get instructions. So like I said earlier, you get instructions of how to cut out everything for the 6-sided box, but it's basically the same for the 5 and the 4-sided box. The only thing that's different is the shape that you cut into the middle of this piece here. As I said, I've done a photographic step-by-step for the Tonic blog of the 5-sided box, and I'll show you the 4-sided box at the end of this video as well. But it's a really simple box to construct. It's literally just sticking the panels to the sides of the shape that you've chosen and then creating this top piece that sits over the top of it, and then you can tie ribbon through the closing at the top. So this is what the box looks like, and you get this gorgeous 6-petaled piece on all of the boxes. So it doesn't matter how many sides the actual box has, the top of it will always look like this. You'll just have less bits poking through because you've cut a different shape in the top of it to coordinate with the bottom of the box. That'll probably become clearer when I show you the 4-sided box. But this was one of the little green ones that I did, and then that's the 6-sided, and then I've done the 5-sided one as well, and you can see it's still got a 6-sided flower, but the bottom is 5-sided, so it just makes it a slightly smaller box. And then I'll show you these in more detail in a second as well. But that is what the die set creates. So you can either have your 6-sided box, which is your hexagon base, or you can have a 5-sided box, which is your pentagon, or you can have the square as well. And then you might notice that there's also a small hexagon, a small pentagon, and a small square as well. And then this top portion that I told you decorates the top of it, you'll see in the centre of this you have sort of indicated a hexagon on there, but it has the cross threads going through the centre of the actual die. And the reason why they've done this is because when this cuts out, it will deboss that detail into it for you, so you'll be perfectly be able to line up the hexagon, because you'll even get that hexagon indent there. But it also means that you can perfectly line up in the centre your pentagon or your square as well, depending on which box you make. So that is how you get this top piece to work. You cut 2 of these, and then you either cut the hexagon, the pentagon, or the square into this central portion on both of the leaf pieces, and that's how you get the piece that goes on top of whichever shape you've chosen. So if you've chosen the square, you cut the square into this piece. If you've chosen the pentagon, you cut the pentagon into this piece, and so on. So that's how you get the top portion to work, and you can see what I mean on the square one that I've got ready. And you can either, depending on how your brain works and if you can figure it out, you can either cut them both individually like this, but when the box goes together you want the petals to sit on top of each other like this. So for the square, it's actually pretty easy. You just make sure that one flat side of the square is lined up with one petal on both of them, so they're both actually identically cut, these two. And you just make sure that the flat side is lined up with one of the petals. Then you can flip one round, and they will both line up perfectly to fit in between each other. The harder one is the pentagon, but with the pentagon, you make sure one is like that. So it's the flat side is like towards this open portion and the point is towards the petal. And then on the other one, you would make sure that it's the opposite way round, so that the flat side would be pointing the petal and the point would be pointing out here, so that when you then flip them over, they would perfectly match with each other. But if that is too difficult, you'll think you might not get it right, another super duper easy way is to just add a little bit of glue around the perimeter of this circle, stick them both together, because that's what we're going to be doing anyway, and then die cut them both together, and then you know that that shape is going to be perfect in the centre. So you can either do them both individually, or you can just stick them both together and you know, cut that out of the centre. So there's different ways of doing it, and it shows you how to do it on the instructions, but it is only showing it to you for the hexagon. But actually, I've just read that. I don't read the instructions, I just look at the pictures, but it actually tells you there a 5-sided box will require 3 times lids. So I've actually done it in a way that you only need 2 of them. But I suppose an easier way would be to always line up the like flat side with one of the petals and then cut 3 of them, and then they would all fit inside each other as well. So actually there's 2 different ways of doing the 5-sided one, but I didn't even read that part, and I just decided to do it a different way. So there are multiple ways of doing it, so don't worry if you don't get it right or the way they say to do it. You can, I'm sure you can fiddle with it and get it to work a different way as well. So I will walk you through this construction after I've finished showing you the dies and my samples too. So that is the like top portion with those middle pieces, and those are the bases. Then you also have the side pieces. So we have 3 different side sizes. So there's loads of iterations or combinations that you can create with these. You could do a 6-sided box with the tallest side, or you could do a 5-sided box with the smallest side. So you can really sort of mix and match them, and you can see the different heights on the sides of them there as well. So depending what size gift you want, maybe your gift is only like got a base of this size, but it's quite tall, so you're going to need the tall-sided box to do it rather than the short-sided box. So you can sort of mix and match depending on what kind of gift you're going to put in there, which is nice. And we have the 3 different sizes. All of these top decorations are interchangeable, but the bottom ones are sort of a set pattern, but I'm sure you could easily put 2 of the smaller ones on the larger, or just have the one smaller one in the centre, or even turn it around that way and have it portrait in the centre of this one if you wanted to. Or you can always snip down the panel for the smaller one. You could literally just chop a bit off the bottom, or again centralise it in the middle of the taller box as well. So you can definitely mix and match them. I have just used the ones that were meant for the different sizes because you know, I was only making 3 boxes, so I might as well just use the ones that fit on them. But if you want to mix and match the patterns, you can definitely do that by trimming them, or just sort of centering them on the sides of the boxes. Or you could even make it part of the decoration, putting one towards the bottom, one towards the top and stuff all the way around the box as well. Or you could put them all towards the top or the bottom and then like tie a bit of the ribbon around them as a little bit of extra decoration. So there's loads of ways of adding and changing these, and you probably even got other dies in your stash that you could turn into little panels for these, like smaller little window dies or other panels for little different boxes. I'm sure there's probably some that you've got that would work, because this one is actually square. The side of this one is square, so if you've got any small little squares that have decorative detail on them, you could use them in there as well. You could even use one of the petals to decorate the sides if you wanted to as well, so that's also another option. But you do also get 3 different options for decorating that top petal portion of your box as well. So I'll just hold this up to show you these. So the petals, you have one with just a straight cutting edge, you have one with a straight cutting cutting edge and dot detail, and then you have one with a straight cutting edge and stitch detail. This one is kind of like the quatrefoil pattern from that pattern paper. This one is like chevron kind of designs. It almost looks a little bit leafy, or in the square version of this it almost looks a little bit like knitting as well. It's got that kind of sort of a couple of rows of knitting sort of look to it. Or you've got an actual flower that pops out of it as well, so you've got the outline of a flower sort of within the petal shape. And then for the three different top pieces that go on these portions of the box, you've got this one which is just the straight cutting edge, and then like almost like a leafy flowery kind of design within there. Then you've got this one that's got the stitching around it, and then you've got the quatrefoil panel to go in it, and then this one that's got the dot detail around it that's got that same like chevron-y knitting sort of pattern inside it. And then you have the three different sides for them. All of the side panels are just the straight cutting edge. They don't have a dot detail or a stitching detail, they're just a straight cutting edge. You've got one with the gorgeous flower, you've got one with the little quatrefoil, and then you've got one with that sort of chevron-y knitting pattern kind of a look. And then, as I was showing you earlier for the coordinating with the stamps, you have this sort of tag or ticket shaped tag, and then you've got the layer that fits on top of it, and then you've also got the oval shaped tag with the layer that fits on top of it. But look at the shape of this layer that goes inside this one. Doesn't that look like the petal of a flower? So that's what I've turned it into for my card. You can actually do a similar effect with the leaf sort of dies as well, but this actually turns into a flower if you cut it 6 times or maybe even 8 times out of your card. So I'll show you that. And then two of my favourite dies in this set are these gorgeous little leaves. So you've got more of a neat curved edge leaf, and then sort of a shaggy edge leaf as well, and they cut really nicely, and you even have that gorgeous vein detail down the centre, so you can actually bend them to give them a little bit more shape as well, and they're really, really beautiful. So I'm going to put all these dies away, and then I'll be back to show you my samples, and then we'll do a construction as well. So these are the 3 cards that I've created in my sped up video that should be up tomorrow or in the next couple of days. And I just wanted to use all of the different elements to make cards. Like, I love to show you how to sort of turn dies from box sets just into cards. And then mainly focusing on the leaf design, because I really love the look of this leaf, and using some of the different colours from the papers that we get in the kit to sort of match the patterned paper, or just to go with like a gorgeous botanical kind of theme as well. So the first one is really, really simple. I just took a strip of that gorgeous stripy patterned paper, ripped both sides of it, and put it down the centre of the card. I splattered some of the spring green mousse in the background, and then I just cut out a load of the leaves, both different leaves from lots of the different colours from the kit, and then I just layered them down the card. So it's kind of an autumn sort of card with the leaves falling, but it's in more like spring summery kind of colours, which I think is a really nice twist to put on an autumny sort of card. But obviously it doesn't have to be autumn. They could be like stylised feathers as well. They don't have to just be leaves. They could be sort of a cartoony feather as well. So I think this works really, really nicely. And I've just used the "You're the Best" on that tiny little tag sentiment. And this is on the little tag, the ticket shaped tag, but I've just covered up the hole with a couple of leaves, so it just looks like it's a layer to go behind the little sentiment one that says "You're the Best." And then I've used the jewel drops scattered down the card as well. You can see because they're translucent, the jewel drops, they pick up whatever colours underneath them. So these ones look like they're the pink of this pattern paper. This one looks darker because it's on the pink cardstock. This one is the true colour because it's on white. This one is changed colour again because I put it over the top of the green stripe, and this one on the yellow card as well. So I love the jewel drops. I do need to use them more. I tend to reach for like dream drops or the gloss drops, but they really are lovely, the jewel drops, because they pick up other colours that you put them on as well. So that's the first card. Then I'll show you this one next. I did this one, which is using that gorgeous little pattern, which I think looks a little bit like knitting, especially when you do it like this. I just cut that into a scrap piece of card, and then used a little piece of foam with some of the spring green mousse and stenciled with it. So you've just got a little extra accent in the background just to give your card a little bit of extra interest. And then I've used that little heart stamp with the sparkle spray as well. And then to finish off the rest of the background, there are a few little tiny splatters with the sparkle spray, and then some of the spring green mousse splattered in the background as well. And you can see, using a really thin application of the mousse with a sponge through a stencil versus a slightly thicker application of it mixed up with water and splattered on, gives a slightly different variation in colour as well, which also looks really lovely to have that little bit of variation. And then I've also scattered on a lot of jewel drops all over the card as well to finish it off. And for the main portion of the card, I wanted to turn the hexagon and pentagon dies into a wreath. So in the die set, they actually sit inside each other. The actual metal of the hexagon fits the pentagon inside it. So stick them together like that, cut them out twice, and then twist them round. And then you get this gorgeous sort of like geometric wreath kind of a look. And then where the parts were thicker, in these parts here, I've added all of the sort of flowers and leaves onto there. And you might be thinking, there's not a flower die in this kit, but this is actually just the pentagon. And all I did was take my little scissors, snip into it all the way around the edge, use a ball tool on a foam mat to shape it and lay it up two together, and then you get these gorgeous little flowers to go on the wreath as well. And then I've just used all of the pinky peachy kind of colours for all of the foliage on there too, and I think it turned out really nicely. And I think this in lots of different colours would look beautiful as well. Obviously for my kit videos I try to stick to just the colours of papers that are in the kit, but definitely mix up the colours of these. Maybe do this all in like whites and golds and it would be a nice little wedding card as well. Or you could do it in more proper autumnal colours like dark greens and maroons, and maybe even make the frame out of brown or gold as well, and it would be much more like rich and opulent as well. So I think this is a really cool design to use those little elements from this box die set as well. And then finally the third card is using that little die from the inside of that oval tag to turn it into a flower. So all I did for this, you'll see it in the sped up video, I chose a flower centre and I decided to choose the hexagon because I wanted 6 petals all the way around, but you could do it with the pentagon and get 5 petals all the way around. And then I taped the dies together like this. So I've lined up the petal, this arch piece of the petal, with one side of the shape that I've chosen, and then I've taped them together, and then I cut that into the card, and then while it's still taped together I twisted the die and slotted this back into the previous hexagon that I'd already cut, which meant that the next petal was the perfect distance from the hexagon and at the perfect angle to go all the way around and make 6 petals. I mean, if you had a tiny octagon die in your stash, you could bring that out and create an 8-petaled flower as well, or you can just be you know, don't worry too much about the spacing between the petals and just eyeball it and place 8 of them around as well. So you can do it in a couple of different ways. You could start with these 2 and then space 3 between them to get an 8-petaled flower. And I did decide to keep the pieces that fell out and then move them to the in-between parts, and I pulled them closer into the centre as well for a different look, and used the jewel drops to accent them too. Then I've used a couple of the leaves again, just to sort of accent that as well. And I've used that same little ticket-shaped tag to add the sentiment, and again I've covered up the whole portion on this one so it just looks like it's a little matte layer to go with that smaller die. And then the actual bit behind the flower is taking the pearlescent cardstock, the pink pearlescent cardstock, and spraying it with the sparkle spray, and you get a slightly different look to if you've just used the sparkle spray onto white card. I think kind of tints it a little bit with the pearlescent colour that was underneath as well. But you can have an experiment with adding the sparkle spray onto different coloured surfaces as well to get different kind of effects. But I just thought it was nice to show you another way to use your sparkle spray, because I'd only really stamped with it and splattered with it on the other card. So that is a cool way of turning that little bit of an oval tag into a flower. But my another idea I had written down but I didn't get a chance to do, I was also thinking you could maybe use the hexagon or something, bring it off to the side of the card more, and then use these pieces to create some kind of flower as well. Maybe you might want to do the pentagon actually, because those are a bit larger, so you could have the pentagon like that and bring these larger sort of petal portions around. And even though these have different designs on the interior of them, they are all exactly the same size, so you can actually get spacing better and use these together. Maybe a circle would actually fit nicer in the middle because there's a circle in the centre of this, so you sort of know that a circle would go nicely. But you could also put that in the centre of the card as well. It doesn't have to be off to the side, but I think that would also make a lovely card design. Yeah, definitely 5 petals I think will look beautiful to be another design for a card as well. So you definitely try that one out too. And you can also mess around then with either just leaving them open or bringing the patterns in, because for these ones you have patterns to go inside them as well. You could even, if you wanted to, try and make a flower with these petals or these shapes as well, because they're all the same too, and you could make more of a geometric-y looking flower as well, maybe a 5 or a 6 petaled one, and bring them all around too. So there's literally like at least 3 different ways of taking some of the dies from this set and turning them into a flower design, a flower motif for your card. Or you could probably even do it with the actual leaves as well. You could do a 6 or an 8 sort of one that could just be a leaf motif then with the leaves coming round, or you could have both different types of leaf. Maybe cut this one first, doing the hexagon trick and attaching it to the hexagon so you get them equally spaced, and then come back in and die cut these in between them as well for another different look. So loads of different ways. And then once you've done that, you don't have to just put card behind like that. That could be a shaker card. You could have done some really cool, messy, inky Nouveau background with like your glimmer pastes or confettis and glue and like sticking loads of bits and pieces in. You could do all sorts of backgrounds to go behind apertures like this and create a completely different kind of look. Just using a solid colour gives you more of like a clean and simple look, but you could do the technique that I've shown you multiple times of sticking loads of sequins down. You could just flood the area with your Nouveau Deluxe adhesive and cover it in the actual glitter as well if you want to. And then if you know you're going to give it to somebody who doesn't like the feel of glitter, you could put acetate behind the apertures and then trap the glitter underneath the acetate as well for another look. Or even make a glitter shaker card as well, because the glitter will probably just static to the acetate, so it will give a similar kind of a look. So loads of different ways of using these dies to create some cards. And now I've shown you other ways of using the dies, I'll actually show you what they're meant to be used for. So let me just put that one away before I lose it. I showed you briefly earlier the 6-sided and 5-sided boxes, and you can see the difference is the bottom of the box and the hole that you cut in the top piece, but the top piece is the same. Or if you actually read the instructions, it tells you to cut 3 of them for a pentagon one and do it that way, whereas you can get away with just using 2 if you want to as well. So let's undo this little pink one to show you, and this is the ribbon that I coloured. So if you want to change the colour of the ivory white ribbon that you get in the kit, you can just use an alcohol pen to change the colour of it, or your sparkle spray would probably work as well if you wanted to use that, or even your mousse should work as well. Watering that down and painting it on would work nicely. And then this is how you open these little boxes. You just undo the bow that's on the top, take that little top piece off, so that's how that little piece looks, and then you can just pull the ribbon wider and the whole little box will open and you can put your gift inside there. So like a really fancy chocolate or something would go really nicely in there. Maybe some jewellery, you could put a necklace, you know, wrap it around like a little cushiony thing and put it inside there, or earrings or something onto like a little cushioned portion and put it inside there, so it will look nice when they open it as well. So really lovely dinky little gift box, but so versatile in terms of all of the other dies that you're getting in this set. And there are different ways of kind of like tying the top up. This one I tried to kind of make it so that these were sort of splaying out to be the middle portion of the flower, but if you wanted to you could tie this tight as well, and then I suppose it would make it even easier for getting the lid on and off too, because it would be a sort of tight finish on there. And you don't have to have the bow coming out of the top of the box like I had done on this one originally. You could even like tie this, stick those 2 end pieces inside, because you want to make sure there's enough ribbon so they can open the box wide without the ribbon all unthreading, because then that'll be a pain if they've got to thread the ribbon back in. And then you could just put that over the top as well and not have the bow on the top, and just do something more like that as well. Obviously you could do it a bit neater, but you know, you can do multiple different things of how to put the lid on. You just want to make sure you don't stick anything onto these little tabs, because I was quite tempted to take extra leaves and stick them onto each of these tabs, so it kind of like made the flower even fuller. But then I was like, but you wouldn't be able to get them back through the hole, so you've got to sort of think about how you're going to put stuff on here, or what you're going to put on there to kind of act as the closure on there as well. So yeah. Now I will show you how to construct the box. Okay, so these are all the pieces we need for a 4-sided box. So we need 4 of the sides, we need the square bottom, and I've been cutting 2 of them. I like to stick the adhesive onto this square rather than onto these little tabs, because I just think it's a bit quicker. And then we need the second one to make the inside look nice of the box. We need tape on these long edges. This is the tallest of the boxes, but this side edge you need the tape on to stick all of the sides together. Then you need 2 of these cut with whatever shape out of the centre. So I've used the square, and then you just want to make sure that when both of them, see look, you can see how some angles they don't fit properly depending on how you've cut them. Not that it really matters, because a flower doesn't have to be perfect, so if it is a little bit off, that can just be a quirky feature of your design. But I have been making sure that they are like that, so it makes a complete flower. And like I said earlier, you can either cut them separately, or you could stick them together first and then cut the shape inside it, and then you know they're perfect. And then you can disregard these little squares that come out the centre, because we don't actually need them. And then to decorate the box, we need 6 of the like petal pieces to go on the top of the flower, and then the 4 panels to go on the sides of all of these as well. So I haven't stuck these on yet, but I'm just going to use the Nouveau Deluxe adhesive from the kit to stick them on. So we can just add a little bit of glue, and these papers are really lovely. They're exactly the same quality as the 6x6 paper pads that they tend to bring out with their colour trends, but they've just done them in A4 sheets. So I don't know if this is going to be something that they're going to bring out or not, but I'm kind of hoping they are. Some A4 paper packs would be really lovely. But yeah, I think this is a really pretty design, and you can also use the back of this as well, which goes perfectly with the mint coloured papers or cardstock that we're getting in this kit as well. So we just want to stick all of these panels on here. Much easier to do it when it is flat, especially if you're pressing quite hard with wet glue. If you've done it with like 3D foam tape or a red liner tape or a double-sided adhesive, you might be able to get away with putting them on once you've assembled it, but it's a really easy box to put together, so I don't think you'd really go wrong in the construction that you would want to not decorate it just in case you had to start again or something. So really, really simple just to stick all of these panels on. Probably should have done this ahead of time like I had done with other stuff, but it kind of shows you how quick it is. And I just used patterned paper on this one. On the other 2, one of them I cut the detail into one colour and mounted it on another colour, and the other one I just cut the detail and stuck it straight onto the box. So you can either do plain panels, you can do detail straight onto the box so the box colour shows through, or you can do detail onto another colour and then onto the box, depending on what sort of look you're looking for or how much die cutting you want to do as well. So to put the actual box together, we want to pre-fold all of this. So this little top one folds towards you, and then everything else folds away from you. So top one towards you, and then everything else is away. And then we're going to stick these onto the base of our box, and then we'll bring up the sides to finish putting it together. Because this is such a small box, it's much easier to do it this way, so that we can get the other piece inside the box to cover that interior base of it to make it look neater. Which is also why I don't mind adding the adhesive onto this base piece, because we're going to stick another one over the top. So if there's any extra adhesive showing, we're going to stick one over the top so you won't be able to see. So all you want to do is just bring that bottom tab of this side piece and stick it right up against the square. And you can just do that all the way around. Same with the hexagon or the pentagon. You can do this exact same method with them as well. And then once you've got your net of your box done, we can turn this over and stick the base inside. So I just use a little bit of the Nouveau Deluxe adhesive again. So you're covering up the glue tabs, you're covering up any exposed adhesive, and you're also making the bottom of the box stronger because you're sandwiching the glue tabs in between two pieces of card, so it's less likely to come apart basically because you're really holding those side pieces in there. You can also do the same thing on the inside of the box if you really wanted to. You could cut extra panels, so once you've put it all together, you could stick an extra panel in here to hold this glue tab really well secured as well. It just depends, you know, how much die cutting you want to do and stuff, or whether you think the recipient is going to keep hold of it and whether it's worth going to the extra effort of like putting all the panels on the inside. But you can definitely do that if you want to. And then we're just going to remove all of the tape off of all the edges. You can do this one at a time if you'd rather, and I've been using 6mm tape on these side pieces, but it is a tiny bit too wide, so you kind of want to roll up that final edge if it's hanging over, so you're not left with any adhesive on the inside of the box that might stick to the gift that you put inside. So just roll up the little edge, and then all you're going to do is tuck that glue tab in and then pull the other side up and just line them up together, making sure to line up here as well. And then you just go around all four sides, pressing from the inside and the outside to sort of pinch them together. This is probably the fiddliest one just because it's smaller to get your hands inside. But if you do struggle with getting your hands inside, you can also take your card crease or your glide folder and like hold from the outside and then press from the inside to get the tabs to make sure they're really nicely stuck in there as well. So you can definitely do that. And then that is the main portion of the box. So that's what it looks like. That would make a really good balloon weight actually, that kind of a shape. And then we're going to make the top portion to sit on top of this. So as with the others, the box is a different shape on the bottom, but this top piece is going to look the same. So they're all going to look like gorgeous flowers from the top. So to do this, we're just going to stick these two together. And again, your Nouveau Deluxe adhesive is perfect for sticking these together. And make sure that the petals are sort of all in between each other. But you could have done it the other way where you already stuck them and then you cut the middle out, depending on how you want to do it. I definitely recommend that for the pentagon one, unless you want to follow what the instructions say and cut 3 of them. And then I've just put 3D foam on the back of these, and we're just going to slide these on. So I'm going to do the 3 under petals first. You could have put the panels on first and then stuck the 2 together if you want to, but I thought I'd show you this way because then if you did stick them together and then cut the hole in them, you'd have to be putting the panels on like this anyway. So I think they look quite nice stuck on with 3D foam. And then for the other 2 that I've already done, I was actually like moulding these, so I was kind of like pulling these ones upwards a little bit, shaping them to sort of go upwards, and then moulding these ones to sort of go downwards, just to give them like a little bit of extra dimension. So you can see they sort of go up and down all the way around the flower then. And on the actual flowers within this design, I was using that Opal Quartz Aqua Shimmer pen as well, just as an extra detail. And then literally all you do is place that over the top of there, and that is like the lid of your box then. So you've got a lovely 6-flowered box with a 4-sided box underneath it, and then you can choose how you want to do the top portion. I mean, I guess you could just leave it like that if you wanted to. You don't have to put ribbon on it or anything. I was also thinking you could stick some leaves onto here as well maybe. to kind of go between the actual petals, perhaps. I'm not sure. But, or maybe actually putting like a couple of leaves poking out from underneath one petal would look quite nice. I might do that. And then you can do the ribbon on the top if you want to. So I could show you how easy it is to colour the ribbon. Maybe let's do the minty colour. So if I go to my Nouveau alcohol pens, I can pick a kind of colour that I think would work. Probably that pillow mint colour, which is 359. And then we can get a scrap piece of paper. And then all you have to do is use the chisel of your pen, and you literally just run it along the ribbon. And these are so lovely and juicy that they colour both sides of it straight away. So then you've instantly got your lovely mint coloured ribbon. So you can just do a little bit more maybe. And then that should be enough ribbon to tie the top of this box together. And I quite liked actually what I did on the first one that I made, which was the 6-sided one. And I stuck the little leaves to the bottom of the ribbon after I tied it in a bow, which I thought was quite a nice look as well. But all you want to do for tying it up is you just sort of weave it in and out. So I tend to go from the outside or the inside and then go back. If I've come from the outside to the inside, I then go the inside to the outside on the next one. So it kind of snakes around it. That's how I tend to thread it up, but you can do it whatever way you prefer. And then we can just do this one differently and tie it tight like this. And then do a little bow. This ties bows really nicely, this ribbon. And I love that you can change the colour of it so easily as well. And obviously with an alcohol pen, it dries so quickly that you can use it straight away, which is really nice. So there we go, we've got a little bow on the top of that one. And then I might add some of these leaves later on as well. But that just shows you the 3 different boxes that you can make, and there's the 3 different sizes as well. So this is the tallest, this is the medium, this is the shortest, but you can mix and match any of them across all of the different ones, and then you can see the different shapes of boxes that are underneath them as well. And you can see actually that just shows you that yellow one is almost falling off because of the way that I tied it, although because I did that big bow it does actually stay on, so that's quite good to know actually. So on the little square one you can tie it tightly but do a bow and then it doesn't fall off. That looks nice like that. Coming off to the side actually, standing up like that. It's going like this. That looks quite nice. That's another way of using it. That looks really lovely like that, because then you're looking at the flower towards you rather than looking at the side of the box. So that's another nice way of using it. And that with like a bumblebee or a ladybird on it would look really lovely as well. So there you go. You can actually tilt the flower and use it like that, and that looks really cool. So I might actually keep it that way around. That's quite good. So I hope you enjoyed this probably very long unboxing video. I'm not sure how long I've been talking for, but I hope you enjoyed the card ideas, the up close look at the dies and the Nouveau product, and showing you the construction of the 4-sided one. And then don't forget to look on the Tonic blog for the 5-sided construction, and then you actually get the instructions for the 6-sided one. So I didn't bother doing anything for the 6-sided one, but yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're interested in getting the craft kit, there will be affiliate links below in the description and also on my blog post as well, so you're welcome to use those to get hold of your kit, and I'll get a small commission at no extra cost to you, and I really do appreciate you using them. Keep your eyes peeled for the sped up card making video as well, that should be up tomorrow or a couple of days after, depending what other videos are going up. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!